Welcome to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast, brought to you by TournamentPokerEdge.com, the only podcast dedicated exclusively to tournament poker strategy. And now, here are your hosts, Ron Fez-Buddy and Killingbird.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast. As always, Killingbird and Ron Fez-Buddy here with you. How are you doing today, man?
I am good. What's up, KB?
Not a lot. Well, I should say not a lot, because actually a lot.
Every time I talk to you, you're like, I can talk for 3 minutes because I have to plan this thing, or I got to go rent the car, I got to go figure out flights. So,
yeah, things have been a little frantic.
We need to start off lying to the listeners. Way to build trust with your audience.
I know. Yeah, it's been kind of nuts. I never realized how much was involved in moving temporarily. So that's kind of what I'm preparing for, and it's involving shipping a lot of boxes, which has been my biggest nightmare. But that's all right. I won't complain.
And for those who don't know what he's talking about, we are getting ready to move the TPE family to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker. We got a house, the TPE compound.
Yeah.
Word. TPE pros start rolling in, I guess, Monday, right?
Yeah, I think so. Sunday, actually.
Sunday.
I guess.
Casey arrives Sunday, right?
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that's a lot of planning, but it's all set, and we are ready to descend upon Vegas and hopefully take some bracelets home with us.
Yeah, it should be as simple as just packing up a few bags, but unfortunately we also have to ship out T-shirts and hoodies and, all these other promotional items and, in order to do the podcasts and stuff that we'll be doing from out there, we need to ship out extra monitors and keyboards and it can't really get all that stuff done on just a laptop, so.
Yeah, all right. We're not going to bore you guys with the details of our logistics. But
we want you to feel bad for us.
I'm super psyched. I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I mean, we're both family guys, so I'm definitely going to miss my family and all that sad stuff, but it's going to be a fun summer. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So have you been playing any poker lately?
Not a ton. I've been playing a little bit of live cash, as I think we talked about on the last podcast, but even that has fallen to almost nothing just with all the craziness that's going on. But I've been putting in a few sessions on Merge. I started playing on Carbon, and then when Casey signed his deal with Locke, I moved over there. And in my first session there, final table of the tournament. So
sweet.
I'm enjoying playing on the Merge network.
Yeah, we were deep in the 3R together, right? The other night.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think we were both in it with like 32 people after.
Yeah, I final tabled it. I know you didn't. I final tabled it. That's right.
Yeah, but we might have got a nice piece of content out of it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we actually, for TPE members, we recorded. We actually got Wein on the line too, and we recorded without seeing each other's screens and not talking about the hands during the course of the hand. We got Wein on, we got on Skype, and the three of us just kind of talked about the hands afterwards. So we kind of did like a live sticking it to the man where Wein was dealing with two men. I was trying to stick two guys.
What's new?
Oh, Jesus. All right, we'll get that in parental advisory for now. Yeah, so we kind of had the three of us on, and like I'd be watching. So I was recording the screen so you could see my whole. You couldn't see, but the viewers, the members will see my whole cards, and you couldn't see them, so you didn't, and we didn't talk about the hand till after. But at the same time, when you were in a hand, I had your screens up, and then we would talk about it after. And I think that was a really interesting type of content. Because we got to like see it live, and like I think the most common thing we'd say was, "Oh, I don't know what to do here." Man, should I shove? Man, should I? I don't know. And then we talk about the hand afterwards.
Right. Yeah. Usually people's reply was, "Well, good luck, whatever you decide," because we have no idea what you're looking at. Like it's like, well, he might have ace king, or he might have sixes. I don't know.
Right.
But it was definitely interesting. Hopefully we'll get a chance to try it again sometime.
I think we should try it again. The problem is we only got one video out of it because, we started it when we were both near final tables, and those tournaments go pretty fast. So, and I think we both busted pretty early at the final table. So, but otherwise it was a cool thread, a cool video to make. I've been playing too. Not the 4 or 5 nights a week that I used to play. Probably more like 2 or 3 nights. It's just been busy here too with the kids and the house and getting ready for Vegas and stuff. So I'd probably be playing more if it wasn't for that. But yeah, I'm still playing it. I'm getting my fix at least. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm happy to have a place to play because honestly, there was a point a couple months ago, or I guess a month ago, where I didn't think that was going to be the case. So
right, and we're crossing our fingers because there was the recent, crackdown in Maryland on the Yada Hay network, which had Doyle's Room and I forget what was the other.
True Poker.
Right, which aren't not big rooms, but not good signs for other sites that are serving U.S. customers. Although from what I understand, these investigations are not unknown. They've been under investigation for a long time, and people have known they've been under investigation. So it's not like they were just sprung upon. And even the PokerStars Full Tilt AP, that was public knowledge that there was an investigation. So and there's no public knowledge of investigation on Merge, which doesn't mean they're bulletproof, obviously, but.
Right, but at least it's some positive sign.
Yeah, and I hope they don't take it away because I love it. I'm just
yeah.
So good. I final table that 3. I literally final table something every time I go in there. Final table that 3R the other night. I final tabled a PLO 10 rebuy tonight. Actually, just wrapped it up before we started recording.
Nice.
I finished 4th though because I got a boat under a boat. Nothing you could do. Yeah. And he hit the boat, his higher boat in the river after we got it in on the turn. So what can you do? But yeah, it's been fun, and I'm loving my PLO. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you got a crash course in it, and apparently it worked.
Yeah, it's been cool. And part 3 of that will be coming out shortly. So for those of you who are loving the Halo Wax PLO series, that's still continuing. There's one more part to go before he moves to pre-flop. So
very cool.
Yeah, that brings me into schedules and our plans for Vegas. What are your plans for tournaments? What are you going to be doing?
Well, pretty much, I think I'm going to spend most of my time over at the Venetian, just due to my bankroll.
Right.
Might mix in some smaller WSOP events, but we'll just kind of see how it goes.
Right.
But I think, and we'll get into some of this with the pros later, but I think that those structures for the Venetian are really good. So
they are.
I'm going to play over there a lot.
Yeah.
And, hopefully make some runs.
Yep.
And if not, then I'll just go sweat the big dog wherever he's at, because I'm sure he'll be deep in everything. So.
Yep. So you're going for the whole thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much be there the entire summer. I'm coming home for a week for my birthday just to visit family, and I figure I'll be ready by then to to escape Vegas
Most
for a little while.
Take like a week off somewhere, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Or at least it's advised, or it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah, I think the longest I've ever been in Vegas is like a week.
Wow.
And I'm usually ready to go home by like day 4 or 5. So
yeah, I was in Vegas last week for the day job, and I was ready to go after 4 days. So
yeah, I do think this will be a little bit different having the fact that we have the house as opposed to staying in a hotel and stuff.
Yep.
So when you want to take a day off, you can literally take a day away from the casino and just chill out and go see a movie or just do whatever you want to do.
Right.
So I think that's going to help, but it'll still be a long summer, but definitely one that I'm looking forward to.
Cool. Yeah, I'm coming in for 2 trips. I don't have the time, the ability to go for the whole summer. So I will be going for a week in June, around the TPE workshop, which is on June 10th, and for a week at the end, the main event. I'm not playing the main event. The main event is on my wife's birthday every year. And so I'm taking this one off by her request, and you got to keep the wife happy.
Yes.
She's usually very cool about it, but, she's one of those, she's a woman who doesn't love her birthday, so that's one. And so I'm going to skip this one, which kind of pains me because I feel like I'm so much better than I was the last 2 times I played it. And I just want to play, but not for me. But I'm going to come in the week before. the main event, because there's a couple of more tournaments. There's another couple of nice Venetians, and then there's the 2+2 party at the Win on the 7th, which I definitely want to go to.
Yeah, that'll be good times. And I know you're debating between playing a PLO and a No Limit Hold'em tournament, so maybe we can get some insight from the pros.
I want to hear from the pros what they think, because I'm having so much fun playing PLO. I'm thinking about playing the $1,500. I'm not going to play anything big, but a $1,500 PLO World Series event, and but I have no experience with it. I have no idea how to gauge the skill level, my expected value. I am, by no means good at PLO. I think I might be a decent PLO tournament player, just because I seem to accumulate chips. But I don't know if if it's a field of specialists, it's probably not going to be the right place for me.
Right.
But if it's a field of just guys taking shots, whatever, then it might be good for me. So I'm going to I want to talk to the pros about that, because I know they've played PLO, the World Series before, and they can gauge the talent level.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of brings us to our main topic, which we're going to bring the pros in to talk about, which is really just kind of WSOP prep and basic conversation about a summer in Vegas.
Yep.
And
that's what this show is all about. We're going to be talking about the World Series for those of you.
Yeah. And we'll get a little strategy talk into, but primarily we're going to focus on just sort of what people should expect and how to sort of prepare for whatever they might be playing while they're in Vegas this summer. So
I pulled a couple hands from the forum, live hands that members have played and they had questions on. So I want to talk about live, because I find myself in some spots live that you don't find yourself as much in. People calling out of position, and online, obviously the games have evolved and people play better, but when you have players who do things that are unorthodox, more so live or just passive, sometimes I find myself in spots where I'm not quite sure what to do, because structures are different, things move faster, stacks get shallower, the cost of carrying out and executing some moves might be more. So that's some stuff I want to talk to the pros about too.
Cool. Well, sounds good. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with Big Dog Pocket Fives and Wein here on the Tournament Poker Edge podcast.
Hey MTTers, this is Casey Big Dog Pocket Fives Jarzabek from TournamentPokerEdge.com. If you've been looking for a trading site dedicated exclusively to tournament poker, then look no further. Tournament Poker Edge is only $23.95 per month, with no initial sign-up fee, and we post a new training video every weekday. You'll also find poker-related articles, blogs, and very active strategy forums. We even offer you the ability to upload your own video for others to discuss. So head on over to TournamentPokerEdge.com and find out why it's quickly becoming the destination for tournament poker players looking to take their game to the next level. TournamentPokerEdge.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast. Time to bring in Casey and Wein.
What up?
As you can hear, they're very excited to leave for Vegas in a few days. How's it going, guys?
What?
Well, they were excited a minute ago. Now they've lost all excitement.
I just spent all my energy with that what up.
Great. What's up, guys? So when Derek and I were just talking about this before the break, but when are you guys? I guess I'll start with you, John. When are you heading out, John, to the World Series? Is he underwater?
I think John drowned.
Oh my God! Someone rushed to John's house.
He left.
Down.
He had to go catch a plane. It's a 10:25 game that he had to get to.
I guess he's arriving now and he's on a flight.
Right, while he dries himself off, what about you, Casey? When are you heading out to the World Series?
I will actually be at the TPO before anyone. I arrive at 10:30 in the morning on the 29th.
Nice.
So I will be there right from the very beginning and staying for the duration.
Wow.
So if you want an autograph, to be at the airport in Las Vegas at 10:30 a.m.
Here's the thing. I fly into the secret terminal, This is not a joke. Like, because I fly Air Canada, they have their own terminal in, I don't know if anybody knows this, in Vegas. So when you fly, you're literally the only person in the airport. You walk out.
Ah, it's awesome. Is it like a dog's mouth?
Yeah, it's like literally there's one little tiny suitcase thing to get where you pick up your luggage. There's nobody waiting. So it's really good on Air Canada. I don't know why they got their own terminal, but it's really nice when you fly into Vegas.
I'm going to fly to Ontario from New York.
You must be leaving really early to get there at 10:30 in the morning. Or are you taking a red eye?
No, my flight leaves 8:30 in the morning from Toronto. And then obviously you have the time difference.
Yeah.
Right.
So 5-hour flight, so I get there 10:30 Vegas time.
Yeah. I guess it's just because it's a direct flight. I guess mine's not all that long either.
I was debating last year playing the main event heading out that day. I was thinking of catching like a 6 a.m. flight for day one.
I did that last year.
You did that? How did it work out
Yeah.
for you?
I flew out at 6 a.m. that morning.
And oh, wow. That's exactly what I was thinking of doing. And did you feel tired from it or no effect?
I mean, I busted the end of the day one, but...
You still sound tired from that flight.
What about you, John, when you come out?
I am coming out... Hold on, let me look.
Are you having a stroke?
I'm going out the 8th.
All right, yeah, I'm coming out the day after you. Cool, so we're coming out at the same time. So that gives Derek and Casey time to bond before we get there.
Casey and I will already have shipped like 4 tournaments by the time you guys get there.
At least 2. At least
by that I mean Casey will have won 4 and I'll have won 0.
We'll blind it out.
Yeah, but I'll have gone down fighting.
He'll be nursing his 3K or 3 big blind stack somewhere.
Casey will just be shoving over me every time. Get me off the table.
So speaking of, let's go through the calendar and talk about some of these events. So if you guys, I'm looking at the World Series calendar. So first off, what I noticed is there's continuing the trend from last year, a lot of the $1,500 and the $1,000 events. And I know I'm going to be playing a bunch of those. I'm guessing a lot of our members will be playing a bunch of those. I guess the question I have for you guys, just starting with those, is what should people expect in those, $1,500 or $1,000 buy-in tournaments? From what I look at, the structure seems pretty shallow. Just how fast does it go, and how should you be prepared? What should you expect when you get to the late, the middle levels or whatever? You guys
played 2 of those 1,500s last year, and went super deep in both. I got like 150th in both, like 3,000 people. If you can get some chips early, it's really easy just to keep building and building. Like I think in both of them, I was like top 5 in chips at the end of day 1 with 150K. So it is shallow, but if you can just find a spot early and like double once, then you can just put on the big dog hat and just start pillaging people. So it's really not that bad.
You start with 3 times the buy-in, right? So like for a $1,000 event, you start with like 3K chips?
That's exactly right, yes.
Right. And so then I'm going to pull up the structure here. So then because I'm trying to envision how it's going to go.
25, 50, then 50, 100. They don't miss many levels.
Right.
So I mean, people get shallow pretty quick because, you only are starting with 4,500 chips. If you play Killing Bird style, by the time you're at level 3, you have like 3,500 chips and the big blind's 2K.
Right.
So the people get shallow pretty quick. I usually have like 67K at that point.
Well, actually, no. The 1K starts with 3K in chips. So like
right.
level 4 is 75, 150. So I mean that's 4 hours in. So you have 4 hours, but that's really not a lot of time. That's 4. It's 4 levels, and you're already, if your starting stack is 20 big blinds.
You have to double up by the second break or you're effed.
Okay,
yeah.
That's what I'm basically looking for.
You have to expect, like, the field is cut. They play down, I guess in these 1Ks they don't, but in most of these 1,500s and 2K events, they play basically into the money on the first day.
It's like 50 short. 50 or 100 people short.
So
neither of the 1,500s we were in the money day 1. It was day 2 both times. It's usually like an hour or 2 into day 2 where you make it, given the fact that hand for hand takes forever because all the dealers have to stand up, and each hand's taking 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
But if you think about that, how much do they pay? Like 15% of the prize pool?
Yeah, something like that.
So maybe like 20% make day 2. So you have to remember 80% of the time, you're not making it to day 2. You're basically going to bust pretty quick. So I think you have to have an expectation of, I'm either, in this for the long haul, or I'm going to be out by like 3 o'clock Vegas time.
They start at 12.
You definitely try and get chips early, or just like go play cash, because
like early first level. Like, are we going to take a lot of?
I wouldn't say first level, but second and third level, you really got to if you pick up something where you have a mediocre draw or something, you might want to take a gamble spot where in other tournaments you may not.
Right. Now you're going to have a huge edge over people who don't really know that or don't have the ability to pull the trigger.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you are one of those guys that doubles, then you can really exploit people that just have no idea that they should be watching for the structure, or they're getting short or whatever. Like, live play on these tournaments are pretty bad.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So you're thinking kind of got to double by the second and third level, and then from there you could probably start to play a more normal game, because if you do double, by the time you get to antes, it's level 6, and you're at 1-2 with a 25 ante at level 6. I mean, at that point, you can play a MTT game between 30 big blinds or so. You should be okay. Is that? I haven't played one of these, so I'm just asking. Is that thinking correct? Like if
I get 30 big blinds when it gets to 100, 200, I'm making day 2.
Okay. All right. So you should be comfortable. So if you're at 1-2 with the 25 ante and you have like 7K or 8K, you're feeling all right?
Yeah, feeling really good.
Okay.
Because literally there's so many more spots to pick off in these tournaments than online that you just fold when you get any resistance and then you just continue to cage after that.
Right.
At least that's been my experience with the whole thing.
Yeah.
I haven't made it past level 3.
Well, that's variance, right? Like, obviously I'm winning my big flip early and you're losing it.
Right.
Yeah, I only played, 4 or 5 events last year, so.
Yeah, I only played 5 too, and I happened to go deep in the 2 1500s. But I only played 5 events too, because after the last 1500, I got like 80th place or 88th place. I just went home.
Yeah, my grandma had a fake heart attack, so I had to go home.
Oh, there you go.
She was like, I have a heart attack, and then I came home. She was like, I just had kind of chest pain. I'm like, I'm already home.
Too late. Yeah, I've only played one of these events in my life, but I feel like Casey's description is pretty accurate, because it's pretty much what happened to me. Like, 3 levels went by, and then all of a sudden I doubled up, and then I think 2 levels later I doubled up again, but then I felt super comfortable. Like, I had all kinds of chips.
Well, for you, that would be like you could go home and have a nap and come back.
Exactly. I probably should have. It would have ended better for me, I'm sure.
So it looks like the calendar is, except for the first weekend, every Saturday and Sunday is a 1,500 on Saturday and a 1,000 on Sunday. So we're going to get a lot of the weekend warriors out probably. They should be pretty decent-sized fields, and it's basically every weekend.
When I originally made my schedule, I was not playing any of the Sundays because I thought I would play online. I totally forgot the fact that I would now be playing those Sunday tournaments.
Isn't it very hard to make a schedule though, because you don't know which day 2s you're gonna?
Yeah.
It's more of the schedule so that you're covered for every buy-in in case you were.
So if you run it absolutely as bad as you can, you know what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what about the non big field shallow structure events? Are you guys playing any of the huge 25K up right? It's kind of crazy, 25K tournament right up front.
No, I'm not going to Vegas with 100K, so I would play it if it was a 10K, because last time I played the 10K heads up, I cashed. I got like 46 or something.
Right.
But that was without a buy, remember, John?
That was yeah, I remember. I was a reporter back then.
That's right. It was a long time ago. But 25K just seems absurd to me. So the first tourney I'll play is probably the 5K on June 2nd.
Right. Yeah.
I'll play a couple Venetians before then.
Right. So the 25K is on the 31st. It's the second event, and then there's a 5K event 4. So you're going to play that.
Right.
Yeah, that looks good. And what kind of field is that? I'm assuming we expect that to be a tough field. Do you expect it's a Thursday? There's going to be people in from that. Oh, they haven't had that big 1K yet, so I'm not sure. Probably going to be a tough field.
Not really afraid of any live field, to be honest with you.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, it is going to be tougher than some of the fields, but there's still going to be like so many soft spots in the tournament that, I mean, there's definitely plus EV to play.
Right. Then the schedule rolls into a 7-card stud, 1,500, and a 1,500 limit hold'em. Do you guys play those games?
I won't be playing any of those because I think I'm going to, if I can get off to a good start, try and win this Venetian leaderboard thing. So if there's not a good WSOP tourney, although there's not as much glamour in it, I'm all about winning the money. So I may try to win this Venetian thing.
Okay, let's look at that too. Hold on. Actually, let's look at that after we go through the World Series schedule. Yeah, I want to talk about the Venetian too because I'm going to be playing a couple of those, and yeah, I think that's even more suited and targeted towards a lot of the people that are probably listening to this podcast. So that we should definitely cover those. Are you playing any non-limit tournaments, John?
Yeah, I get in on the 8th, and there's a horse tournament on the 10th, but that's the same day as the TPE seminar, so I have to skip that.
Right.
But I'm not going to play the 7-card stud championship because it's a 10K, and I can't imagine I have much experience in tournament 7-card stud fields. But I'll be playing like the 8-game mixed on the 13th.
That's what, a 2,500, right?
Yeah, might play a couple PLOs, play the 10-game mixed on the 16th. We'll probably try to get into the horse championship on the 21st, the 10K. We'll probably try to satellite into that. But I'll be playing a lot of the mid-buy-in mixed games.
Interesting. Are either of you guys playing any 10Ks aside from the main event?
I haven't really went through it, but I mean, if there's something worth playing, I may do it. But I haven't really looked at it. Like I might play the 10K 6-handed because that sounds like fun.
Right.
But that's not right to the end of the series, so I guess I can kind of evaluate how I'm doing.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, there's a 10K. So continuing with the schedule, there's a 10K PLO. Pretty early. It's event 7, and that's on a Friday. And then they go into that 1K, the first 1K, the 5-day mega 1K on Saturday the 4th of June.
Right. I'll probably play the 1K. I would never put 10K into a game I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah,
I am no limit hold'em specialist pretty much, so that's what I'm going to be focusing my.
Oh, you have a horse jersey, buddy.
I know I did win a horse F-tops, but I don't lie about the fact that I absolutely card racked stud. I had rolled up 3 of a kind so many times, like it was like almost a joke. So
I remember.
I did final table an F-tops horse again after that, so I started thinking maybe I was okay at it, but I still don't fool myself to know that I play it enough to put 10K into a buy-in. Seems pretty negative EV to me.
Right.
You play a lot of deuce to 7 though, right, Casey? Are you going to play that?
I would have played the 10K deuce to 7 100% for sure, but it's on the 9th, and the workshop's on the 10th, so if I was to make day 2, I couldn't do the workshop, so I'm just going to miss that.
There's a 1.5 on the 4th, though, at the same time as that 1K. So if you bust out of the 1K, if you don't win
the
that...
The problem with that is it's no limit. Like, I usually just play the 2-7 low triple draw.
Right.
Which is limit, so I'm not sure when that tourney is.
Gotcha. Let's see. The 2-7 low triple. Wait, what is it? 2-7 low triple draw? That's what
Is there even one? I know there was one last.
There's a 2,500 on the 28th.
I will probably play that. Yeah, that one I will probably.
Yeah,
I missed it last year because I was in the 5K shootout.
Yeah, that was a good idea to play that tournament. That was an easy table, huh?
Oh my God, that table was absurd.
Who was at your table?
I had Joe Tehan, Commander Cool.
Oh man.
Bax, God, there was a couple others too.
Jesus, that's an awful table.
K-Wob, there was a couple others. It was like a really tough table. It ended up being me, Bax, and Charter three-handed.
Yeah.
No, that was a dirty table. I remember reading
gross.
the table draws before coming down and being like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, it was a nasty table.
Right.
As soon as I sat down, people started sitting down on like Good Game 5K.
All right, so then the week of the 6th, there's a lot of mixed games. Omaha, high-low, split 8 or better, 10K. There's a triple chance, 1,500. There is a no-limit shootout for 1,500 on the 8th.
I'll definitely be playing
fun.
that one.
Yeah,
if you're gonna win a bracelet and like luck yourself to a bracelet, it's those kind of events.
Right.
You just gotta win 3 tables. Like I've won 3 sit and goes in a row a gazillion times in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are good ones to play if you're just trying to get your first bracelet.
Right.
I love the shootouts.
Yeah, shootouts are fun.
I would love to play that.
So then we move into the TPE workshop on the 10th. And then after that, it's the perfect thing because there's like I said, a 1.5K on Saturday and a 1K on Sunday. And I know a lot of people from the workshop as well as just other TPE members are going to be playing in those. So that should be fun.
That honestly might be the one day I don't play a 1,500 because the 10th is the workshop plus T-Twist's birthday, and I'll probably get like smashed where you guys have to like all of you have to get together to carry me home.
We'll just march down the streets of Las Vegas carrying you.
So that might be the one day I'm like, I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
You guys know me, and you know I don't drink. Casey got me so drunk last year at the World Series that I wasn't able to get up from the crazy for poker table we were at.
Sorry, buddy.
I went on a conference last week for work, and I had a speech on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m., and I was the keynote closing speaker. And we were out the night before at a customer party. And we were drinking, and everyone's like, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And everyone's like, are you going to be okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, you guys know I stay up all night playing poker and wake up in the morning and go to work. I'm usually normal. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. I was like, as long as there's no shots involved. And that was a stupid thing to say, because as soon as I said that, I made a mistake, because all of a sudden I turn around and there's 2 shots waiting for me.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
TPE house is going to be a fun house.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so actually, for those of you listening, shoot us an email or something, or if you're a member, PM us, or if you're not a member, you can email ronfezbuddy at tournamentpokeredge.com. We're going to be out on the night of the 10th celebrating T-Twist's birthday. So if anyone, any podcast listeners want to join us, you can PM me or Derek, or email me or Derek at Tournament Poker Edge, and we'll tell you where we're going to be. I don't know, have we decided where we're going yet?
We have, yes.
I don't know.
But on a side note, with the TPE members, if any TPE members like to shoot pool, I'm playing for $100 a game at the TPE house.
There we go. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Very good. Well, I won't be playing pool against you because I'm awful. I'm not even good on Wii, so I'm not even going to try to play you in real life.
I'm not good either, but I'll just give it a shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did you guys see what I bought for the Vegas house?
I did.
A blow-up dock?
I saw.
It's like 8 different video game systems and over 200 games.
I had no idea, really?
Yeah, I figure my theory is I'm going to buy it. I put an offer in. I'm like negotiating back and forth. I'm just going to get it. It's like Sega Master Systems, Atari Jaguar, like all these video game systems that no one has ever had.
In television.
Yeah, like all types of random stuff. I figure I'll buy it for whatever it is, what it costs, and then I'll just donate it before I come back to YMCA or some shit and get the.
Nice.
You know what I have is that Duck Hunter gun that you just plug into your TV and you play Duck Hunter.
Of course you do.
Game. I absolutely love that game. I'll bring that along.
Somebody bring RBI Baseball. I loved that game when I was a kid.
I love it.
Blades
All right.
of Steel.
So now I have a question for you guys.
I love that game.
I have a question for you guys because you probably have played this tournament and I haven't. On Monday the 13th, I am debating. There's a 1500 at the Venetian and a PLO at the World Series. Now it's a 1500 as well, and I've been playing PLO. I've been practicing. I'm obviously not an expert. I'm still kind of a noob, but what do you guys think the 1500 PLOs are like at the World Series. Are they soft, hard? Is it going to get a bunch of people who don't even know how to play the game but just want to play because they don't know better?
Here's my opinion, okay? And I think this is pretty good. I have a friend, Kevin Botsky. He is like a PLO specialist. That's all he plays pretty much online. He used to be a no-limit guy, but the game kind of passed him by. He's a little too nitty. But he plays PLO, and like he wins a lot of money on these if you were to search him.
Mm-hmm.
I staked him in a couple of Omaha tournaments. He's like, I couldn't win hands. Like there are all these specialists with these games. A lot of times specialists show up, and they're a lot tougher than the no-limit ones.
Even the 1500.
Yeah, this
okay.
is what he's telling me. I mean, anybody who wants to take a shot is not going to go take a shot. Like just some random business guy who wants to win a World Series of Poker bracelet is not going to take a shot at a PLO tournament. He's going to try a no-limit tournament. So a lot of these mixed games have a lot more specialists than the no-limit. That's what I've been told.
Okay, that's the information I was looking for. I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if it was just going to be soft because it was a cheap buy-in, or if it was going to be specialist. So that and because there's a $1,500 at the Venetian the same time, all the no limit players are going to go play there. So they're not even going to be. They have no incentive to stay there and take a shot. Really. Right.
So I mean, I think that's going to be a tougher field than say any 1,500 no limit for sure.
Okay. Cool. Well, that answers the question. I want to play a PLO tournament, but like a live one. But I guess that's not the one to take a shot in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be playing the Venetian for sure because.
Yeah. If you want a bracelet, that's the tournament to be taking a shot in, though.
I mean, bracelet would be nice, but it's not the drive.
I mean, maybe you can get a full tilt deal. Wait. That was the whole reason why everyone played bracelet events. They were all like, oh, I get a deal with full tilt. I can get a deal with stars. Right. Now, what does a bracelet even matter? I'm going to be at Binions.
Right. Right. Okay, so then at the same time, there's that is that the 8-game mix? It's the 13th, John? That's the one you're playing?
Yeah.
It's like a fun tournament.
Because, I want the bracelet. I just want my picture to show my mom.
See?
So I made it.
All right, then there's a 5K shootout on the next day. Casey, sounds like you want to play that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to get the exact same table as last year.
All right, there's a couple of stud tournaments. The limit championship is that week.
Yeah, I'm playing the stud high-low 8 or better on the 14th. I'll play the 6-handed on the 15th.
Wow, you're like
on the 16th.
You're like a real poker player.
10 game on the 16th. And I'm not a real poker player. I just like lighting money on fire.
I think I know how to play 2 of the games in the 10-game mix.
So I could probably play it and win it, but I'd rather just not,
Yeah.
It seems like a withered bracelet to have.
Well, a lot of work to do, right?
Yeah.
Get there.
Plus, we have Duck Hunt to play back at the house.
Exactly. That's a nice buck. You're going to need a bigger truck.
Now they throw another 1,500 in on that Thursday, and then they're back to another 1,500 on that Saturday and $1,000 on that Sunday. With
Diego, you're all business today, eh?
That's right.
You don't get any jokes in. You're just like back to the schedule.
Goddamn. Someone has to keep this train moving.
He got his advice on whether.
I feel like I've been shunned to the back of the classroom.
Face the corner, Casey.
Sorry, Casey.
Here's your hat. Stand in the corner.
It's just that there's 60 goddamn events to get through. There's so many tournaments on the schedule. And I am not going through every $1,500 7-card.
Sorry, Diego.
Now, the horse championship. Is anyone playing that?
I will try.
Is that the 10K?
That's a 10K.
I'm not going to light 10K on fire, but I'll shoot my wad on a satellite or two.
I mean, I'm more likely to take a shot in a tournament like that if I'm having a really good series and I've banked 100K or 200K already. Then I'm more likely to throw 10K in something like that. But as of right now, I would say I'm not playing it.
Man, I hope someone makes a final table while I'm there. I would love to watch a friend at a final table at the World Series. Has anyone done that? Have you guys been? Have you sweat a final table?
Brian Lemke won bracelet.
You were there for that one?
Yeah,
I was there for that one too.
Nice.
I've probably sweated 50 of my friends make a final table. I was a reporter, so that's all I did.
Oh, that's true.
So
hopefully a TPE founder can make a final table because that'd be great.
Yep,
I agree.
Hopefully John Wein Yeah.
Hopefully the fattest TPE can make fun of the table. I think that'd really awesome.
I'm gonna be eating a lot until
I can't move Diego.
He'd be the easiest guy to see from the rail. So.
Oh, we have to make bigger patches for our fatter founders.
Oh, I was gonna say, if any TP member wants to wear a patch, just email killingbird at tournamentpokeredge.com or PM.
I'll be there pretty much all summer, so I'll be happy to meet up at the Rio or at the Venetian.
Steve Zalatow t-shirts.
That's right. I'm gonna find him and give him another one. I don't know. Steve Zalatown's pretty small. He could actually wear those shirts.
Doubt it.
Okay.
Back to the schedule, Diego.
Back to the schedule, guys. All right, so then there are, after the Horse Championship, once again, the rest of that week are there's a 1500 on the 22nd, then there's a PLO mix, PLO and Omaha mix, 2500, then an NL 5K, six-handed.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one looks...
I won't go near that one. I played a six max tournament a couple of years ago at the World Series. I think it was a 2500, and my table was the Waco Kid, Poker Jammers, Chris Ferguson, Andy Block, and someone else. It was like the dirtiest table of all time.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I will never play a six-handed tournament again.
Scarred, huh?
I think AMAC was the other one. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Remember you were reporting on my 6-max WSOP tourney, and then Crazy Marco made that crazy 5-bet on me and then showed?
Oh, I remember that.
That was a 6-max tourney.
2007? Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy Marco, owning the big dog.
I remember that. Houdini was at your table, too, if I remember.
Yeah. It was a tough table.
God, you guys make it sound like the only people that play in these tournaments are good online players.
Well, the only people you have to worry about are.
Right. I guess that the only tables that are memorable are the ones where you got those draws, right?
Right.
So, Casey, you're going to play the 5-handed 6-max. What about the 5K 6-max? What about the 10K on the 27th?
I mean, again, it's going to be depending on how I've been doing. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to keep shoving 10Ks, like, just lighting them on fire. I really don't want to go down 100K at this series.
Yeah.
But if I'm, like, floating around even or up money, then for sure I would definitely play that.
Right. That makes sense.
I'm not afraid of any 6-handed field as long as there's no limit. Hold them.
Right. Right. And how many players do you guys think the 50K Poker Players Championship on July 2nd is going to get? Does anyone know what Goda got last year? Got like 145 or something like that?
I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm up 50K, I would play that.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, if I'm up 50K and I'm
Right.
pre-rolling it, why not?
Right. Yeah.
I would love to play that.
Yeah.
I bubbled a 50K horse satellite in 2008.
Oh, really?
Yeah, first was a 50K seat, second was like 43K, and I got third.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
Yeah, fun.
Gross.
Was third exactly $0?
$0.00, yeah.
Ugh.
And the guy that won it had like 3 big blinds, so I figured once I got heads up with the one guy, I would work on a chop. Like,
Right.
had like 5% of them in the main or whatever, or vice versa, and then I bubbled.
That's awful.
I had like 10K to my name. That was a good decision.
Do you guys know which days in the main event you're playing? Like, do you play in advance day 1 to day 4? I mean, day 1A, day 1B, day 1C, day 1D? Or
Day 1 day.
Day 1B?
Haven't really even thought about it.
Yeah. It's the Friday, day 1B.
I will get there the night before.
Right.
Oh, you're going home and then coming back.
Yeah, I have a fiance. I'll lose her if I don't.
It's kind of interesting to see the difference in approach between Wein and Big Dog to the series, where Wein is kind of like, I'm playing this event, he's got them kind of all lined up, and he knows which day he's playing for the main. And Casey's like, if I'm feeling good, I might play that. Probably won't play that because I'll be hungover. I'm not sure what day I'm going to play. I'll have to figure it out when it gets there.
I mean, I understand what Wein's doing because he wants to have his buy-in straight, but for me it just doesn't make sense because, some days I just won't feel like playing, and if, my bankroll is taking a massive hit, I'm not going to want to dump $10K into a tournament the next day.
Right.
Right. You could easily drop $150,000 in this, this 7-8 weeks. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Casey, I sold pieces of my events, so I had to get everything straightened out and whatnot. And
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That's a big difference.
Casey does not, so that's probably the main difference between our approaches.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
Yep. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that either is like a better approach or anything. It's just kind of interesting to see the dynamics because I've certainly never gone out to play this long of a series before, so I don't even know what my approach is or should be.
I'm excited for the ladies event on the 1st.
You're gonna be a leech hanging out trying to pick up women?
No, I'm gonna play in it like Sean Deeb.
Get some publicity.
You're much prettier than him, by the way.
Thank you.
Well,
I mean- Go on.
No, I was gonna say, speaking of planning, I know, Derek, you're playing mostly Deepstack tournaments, the Deepstack at the Venetian, right?
Yeah, I think that's where most of my time will be spent, just because I'm not backed or rolled for playing 5K 6-max events. So, and I just think there's a lot of value in those Venetian tournaments. I played like 4 or 5 of them over the last couple of years, and they're fun. It's a really nice poker room. The tournaments are really well run. Good staff, all that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
I think it'll be a fun series, and I think it sounds like a lot of. I know I was talking to Cougars. He's going to be playing over there a lot. Sounds like Casey's going to try to play there quite a bit. So,
And it pretty much maps to the World Series calendar, right? Starts like the day before the World Series starts, or right around it.
yeah, I think the day before.
27th,
Yeah.
right. And it ends on the 13th.
I might even try and play that 550 on the 29th, even though I don't get in till 11 o'clock.
Ah.
Yeah, you might be able to make it over there.
I mean, they've got to have late reg.
They have late reg. I think it's 2 hours, I think.
I just want to walk in late anyway and then hear the sigh of the room.
Good game field. You just walk in and scream that.
Yeah, the range. These are great because there's a lot of 340s and a lot of 550s.
And they're always like 40 to 50K for first.
Yeah,
Right,
and
you can win one of those. You can free roll the whole series.
Yeah. And they're pretty manageable fields too. At least they might even be bigger this year. I don't know. But the year I played, I think they were getting 350 to 500.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Which is it's kind of a field you feel like you could navigate without having to win 86 flips.
Right.
You make day 2 in that. There's 40 people left.
Yeah.
Pretty manageable.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and the structures are really, really good.
Yeah, it seems like the consensus is that in terms of lower buy-in alternatives to the World Series, that structure at the Venetian is definitely the best. There actually are a couple.
I've never been in the Venetian.
Oh, really?
It's a nice room.
I suspect it'll be kind of like our second home, or I guess our third after our actual home, and then the Rio. But there's also a Mega Stack series going on at Caesars, sort of basically running the same days, and there's actually some slightly lower buy-ins. Like they start as low as 120 and go up to I think 400 or something.
Isn't there Aria events as well?
I haven't heard about Aria events, but possibly.
Let's Google right now. You guys keep talking.
Well, I looked at the structures between the $1,000 buy-ins at the World Series and the 340 550s, and the 340 550s at the Venetian just crush them. You start with 12K, and they do move up more aggressively at first.
What do you got, 45-minute levels or something?
You got 40-minute levels.
Yeah.
You got 40-minute levels, and you start with 12K at 50, 100.
So already you're starting bigger.
You're already starting bigger, and they're pretty equal. You get your M is 80 to start at the Venetian, and your M is 60 to start at the World Series. And then by the time you get to 3 hours in, you're already beating your starting stack is your M. If you just had a straight starting stack, 12K at 3 hours in, you're at 153.25 at the Venetian. So you got an M of 17. And at the World Series, you are at 75.150, but because you only start with 3K and, you're going to be shallower, if you just had a starting stack, you'd be at an M of 13. So within 2 hours, I think it equalizes at like 2.5 hours, and then it's way better. And that's at a much lower buy-in. At the comparable buy-in, at like the $1,000 Venetian, when your M is 13 at the World Series, your M is 28 at the Venetian.
Wow.
So it's a huge difference.
When do you get in on the 29th, Derek?
I get in, I think I land at 1:30.
So you're definitely not playing that 550.
Yeah, I don't think I'll make it. I mean, I would literally have to, I would have to take a cab straight there.
Yeah, and then you're not going to make it because then you have to you'll late reg at the very end if you even get lucky and get there in time.
I mean, if I get some sleep on the flight, I think I might just win that one and just start off really good.
But I'll definitely, I mean, if you're playing, I will obviously for sure, come over there.
I'll be the guy with all the chips in front of him.
Actually, I land at 1.
Do you?
Yeah. And I assume they're going to register till 2.
Look at you trying to get in there now, eh?
You never know what might happen.
Wheels just spinning.
If you land at 1 and they register till 2, I do not think you're going to make it there in time.
Yeah, I don't either because
probably not.
You don't fly into the secret tournament.
I will say though that
big dog hanger.
I will say though that you do get into. I've noticed I get into Vegas early a lot of times, like 20 minutes early or half hour early. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. So it's possible because it's a long flight, so they give a big estimate. And if you catch a good tailwind.
What do you guys got? 5-hour flight?
Yeah, about that 5 hours. I have 5.5. I don't know about Derek. You're more.
I think mine's right around there.
Yeah, mine's 5 hours too.
Right. Why don't you catch an earlier flight, Derek?
Too lazy to change it. I could probably just go online and see if it's available, but they'd probably charge me more.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they only have one tournament there on a day.
No, they have more than one tournament a day. Let's see. On the first day, would you say the 29th?
Yeah.
No,
they only have one, according to this thing you sent me.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, on the 29th, they say they have 5:50 and day 2, 4 p.m.
That's day 2 of the 2-day event, or the 2 starting day event.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see. They have 2 starting days. I got you.
Yeah, I know. Cougars is playing both of those. Day 1A and Day 1B of the 340.
Cool.
Because he gets in on 27th. So hopefully he'll have a good stack going in there. So at least if I bust the 550, I can rail him.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so if any, like we said, that's what we're looking at playing. Going to be a lot of play at the World Series, a lot of play at the Venetian. Will be at both. So hit us up if you guys are going to be in any of those tournaments. Look for TPE patches, and if you want to wear one, just stop by. And we love meeting members. So just anyone who's playing any of those tournaments, just feel free to approach us. I have some questions I have some hands for you guys. You want to talk about hands?
Might as well squeeze in a little bit of strategy before we wrap this thing up.
All right. So I pulled a couple of hands. Let me send you guys the first one. I pulled a couple of hands.
Shove.
I pulled a couple of hands from actual live hands from TPE members that TPE members posted.
Are any of them Killing Bird?
They are not Killing Bird hands. So you do not have him
sadly
to abuse.
Sure.
You get in trouble for making fun of KB now?
That's right. Someone complained on. I think we talked about that last podcast, right?
Someone complained about me making fun of KB.
Yeah,
we said you guys were too hard on me.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I take it easy on you. You're that bad.
Exactly. That's the way I feel. I'm like, I wanted to reply, don't incite him.
Let's
looking at this hand.
Look at this hand. So let's see. This is a live tournament. It's a 72.
What is the buy-in?
It's a $200 euro.
But I don't really see how the buy-in matters.
What is I don't know what that symbol is.
The euro.
It's confusing.
What symbol?
In the title of the post.
It looks like a C with a.
Oh yeah.
Looks kind of like a retarded E. Shouldn't say the R word.
So all right. So it's a 200 euro. 72 players. The member says there's 24 players left, 9 paid, whatever. It's 1,000, 2,000, and he has, let's see.
13-9.
Hero has 13-9. Now, we are playing live. It's probably an awfully structured event, and I think we can confirm this by looking at the stacks around the table. He's got 13-9. No one's got more than 22. Most people have between, somewhere either 10, 11, 12, 14. Some got 6 or 7. So it's one of those, shallow live events. And he goes that under the gun, goes all in for 6,800. So that's, about 3.5 big blinds.
Yeah.
The hero's in the big blind. And he says that the cutoff, it falls to the cutoff, and he shows ace queen off, and he calls and shows his ace queen. And the hero has 6-7 of clubs. I mean, kind of a weird hand, but knowing what he knows that he's, in a flip against this guy with all that overlay, is this something that you guys would play?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a fold, but I mean, it would be a really sicko play to shove now, knowing that the small blind shoved ace queen, and then suddenly you're getting a fantastic price unless this guy's holding an overpair.
Right.
4-1. Yeah.
But I mean, is the guy going to fold his ace queen? But it would be a sicko play.
Wait, you know what? I neglected to look at the cutoff stack. The cutoff has 6,800 too, so the cutoff and the undergun both have 6,800.
Oh, then it's a snap call for me.
Yeah, it's a call, right? Yeah, I mean, he's got the odds.
Yeah, if the cutoff has 6,800 as well, then I just put in my chips and win the pot.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see that the cutoff was so short too. He's not a concern. Okay.
It's an interesting spot, though.
It's an
well,
odd.
I mean, we all know what you do. You start.
Well, yeah,
on
I snap fold.
on the sleeve of the sweater.
He clicks fold before it gets to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't even had a decision to make because I would have already pre-checked fold.
Ran to the bathroom.
Those buttons were designed for KB.
All right, next hand is actually from the World Series of Poker, event 36, a 1K. So exactly the tournaments we were talking about. And I think this is a good hand to talk about because, not necessarily because of the hand itself, but because of the, it's exactly what we're talking about here, where it's like we're at 5,100. His stack is around 6,000. So he doubled already, but we're already starting to, at least a lot of players around the table are starting to get shallow. So he has ace king off, under the gun limps. Doesn't give stack sizes for the other players, but under the gun limps, under the gun +1 limps, and he raises to 500. Everyone folds except for under the gun who calls. The pot is 1.25K. And the flop is queen 6-2 rags. And so under the gun, that's 500. So actually, I always kind of try to figure out what to do in these spots. Under the gun is at the table for 2-3 orbits. I think I know what I do here, but what would you guys do here with this guy leading, 1/3 of the pot into us, and we have ace king? Missed.
The one point piece of information that's imperative to know what to do here is how many chips does under the gun have?
Yeah, he doesn't say.
I mean, if under the gun has like 3K in chips, I just ship all my chips in the middle because I would never believe this lead out. And the pre-flop action that we made was so strong that, under the gun's going to fold a lot of hands, including some queens here. If he has like queen jack suited, he may end up just folding here. So I would ship it. But if he has 6K in chips, then I would probably just raise fold. I would make it like 1,400 here and then just fold if he was to ship. But I mean, it really depends on how many chips this guy has. If he has 1,000 chips, then I probably just fold.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to know unless we have all the information.
Yeah, it's funny you're saying that because Hagbard replied basically, hard to say without knowing the villain stack. And then, he responds later in the thread that the guy covers him.
Oh, he has him covered. Okay, Well then for me it's just I wouldn't believe this lead, so I would make it 1,400. And if the guy flatted, well then I'm in position. I see what happens. And if he ships, I would fold.
Okay.
Makes sense.
What happens if you bet here? Like, let's say this is completely moving off of the hand, but this is the spot I find myself in sometimes. Let's say action similar to this. We do exactly this with ace king and the flop but let's say we have ace king suited and the flop comes queen 6-2, and the same flop, and he checks to us and we bet and we get called. Now we're in position, right? And we're going to a turn and we whiff the turn. Are we going to barrel here on the turn if we miss again? Are we willing to risk, our stack? And, it's only 6K. So now if we bet here, like, I don't know, into 1.25K, if we see bet, like, what would you see bet, 700 or 800 to this? Oh, actually,
yeah.
600 maybe? 600,
There's 1,200 in there, so I probably would have let out, 600 or 500.
Right.
And then
so
you're
now,
saying flat, and then we brick the turn and he checks to us?
No, let me rephrase it, because this is the kind of thing I always find myself in a tough spot. So we have ace king, same flop, queen 6-2, under the gun checks though, right? Yeah. And it's just you and under the gun, and he checks and you bet, and then under the gun calls you, and then I think under the gun 1 was in this hand too, but let's just say he folds, right? So you bet 600. Now the pot is 2,400. Your stack at this point is going to be 4,900 or so. Yeah. So, it's the turn is a whiff and is nothing. Doesn't affect the hand. It's like an 8 or something. And now he checks again to you. With 4,900 and 2,400 in the pot, are you going to take another stab at this, or are you just going to give up and preserve your stack because everything is so shallow?
Well, if it depends on read here now. If because of the way he played the hand, my mind would right away be thinking this guy has something like 5-5. The way he limped under the gun and then he called and he tried to set mine me. So then he's just floating just to float. I would almost always 2-barrel there because of the hand I put him on.
Right.
In this particular spot, I would always 2-barrel there. Plus, you have over 40 big blinds still, so you can easily make another bet of 10 big blinds and still have 30.
So with 2,400 in the pot, you put out like a 1K chip or maybe
1,100.
1,100.
You still have 30 big blinds if he was to call or something.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, and that's exactly the information I'm looking for. So you put another 10, 11.
I mean, I think it's important to put him on a hand.
Right.
If you're putting him on a queen, you may not want to throw another barrel because he might call. But I don't necessarily have him on a queen pre-flop because of the way the hand was played.
Right, because he's probably. I mean, what queen is he limp calling?
I doubt he's limping king queen under the gun. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Maybe queen jack suited, maybe queen 10 suited, but probably not even that.
Even that, I'm not limping, right?
Right, that's tough to.
So this is what's going through my mind. So
right.
I would probably fire a 2-barrel for sure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he probably most certainly does have, a pair that he doesn't feel good. So that's exactly the what I'm looking for here, because I feel like I run into this where that they're not strong, but people tend to just make weird calls. I find live, and if they don't know, I mean,
I'll tell you something. If he called, right? If I put in 1,100 and he called, and then the turn came or the river came another brick. Or paired the board or something, I snap shove all my chips. And I can't see him check calling down the whole way.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm trying to get to. So, I mean, you got to be brave, right? And now the thing is, though, a lot of people who don't play, 1K events for the World Series are just not going to have the guts to do that. That's part of the problem. That's why you have
seen my gut?
No. I know you have the guts to do that, but a lot of people who play these tournaments don't have the guts to do that. But that's kind of what you have to do.
That's why I think some people who are going to Vegas just to play like a $1,500 event should maybe consider. I'm not trying to change anybody's plans or take away their shot at fame, but they might be better off playing like 5 350s at the Venetian. Because I think you're going to play more optimally because you have more shots to play again.
Yep.
Whereas if you're just flying in for like that one $1,500 event, you're going to be pretty bummed when you bust. And there's like Wein said, there's a pretty high likelihood of busting.
I agree with you, though. I agree with you. But remember, if you're a poker player, someone who loves poker, I mean, there is a value in getting to play a World Series event in your life.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. If you've never played one, there's a value in that. It's good for the professionals.
I think there's value in winning $50K. Like, I'm going to probably play as many Venetian events as I do WSOP events.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not considered just like some random. Like, I'm considered somebody that you would think would play a lot of WSOP events and just leave the Venetians alone. But I think there's a lot of value over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ask me right now, what would I rather have? Win $1 million this year at the series without a bracelet, or win $400K with a bracelet? I'll take the $1 million.
Oh yeah, every day.
You know what I mean?
I guess I'm talking about the people who watch poker on TV all the time, never played a World Series event. they're going to want. I mean, I think you should play an event at some point in your life if you're.
Just so they can say they played it. You mean?
Just the experience. I mean, there's a value in the experience for a non-professional, someone who doesn't do this all the time. There's a value in the experience. Going back and saying you've done it is fun for people. But if you do it once, then I agree with you, Derek. You should probably.
Yeah, like I said, I would never want to like dissuade anybody from like taking that opportunity to do something. You know, it's like it's on your bucket list or whatever. Like you should definitely check it off. But just being sort of mentally prepared for the fact that you might bust out in level 2.
Right.
You know.
Derek, do you have a bucket list?
Not a physical written down one, but I guess I have sort of a mental one.
God, you're such a loser. I mean, that's really good, pal.
Thanks. One of the items was to spend a summer in Vegas with Big Dog Pocket 5, so I'm going to check that off pretty soon.
Good times.
All right, one more hand that I want to talk about. This is a hand that was posted by someone at a Foxwood tournament. It was a $120 buy-in, 10K event. I guess 10K. I don't know if 10K was the guarantee or 10K was a starting stack, but 131 runners, 14 paid. Okay. All right. So with 131 runners, there's 38 players remaining. Blinds are 1K, 2K with a $200 ante. He's been to this table for an orbit, and the player to his direct right moved 2 hands prior, no idea on his game. To his right, it's not relevant to the hand though. He had 22K at 1K, 2K, but at once again in these like $120 buy-ins in these local casinos, that's probably kind of right around average, probably, or maybe a little under. It folds to the small blind. He says the new player, so that's who he must have meant, the guy to his left. It folds to the small blind. He's in the big blind. Folds to the small blind, and the guy opens for 6K with a 27K stack behind. And he says that earlier in the orbit, he decided he was going to shove on any cutoff button small blind range against medium stacks with any 2 cards, and he followed through with his plans.
This reminds me so much of that KB hand from a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Refresh, I don't remember which one.
Where basically I had decided I was shoving over this guy who had been raising a lot, no matter what I had.
Yeah.
And I had like 9-7 off or something.
And he had
right.
The guy had 2 kings?
The guy?
Yeah.
So the one time KB finally mans up, he runs into something, and now he'll never do it again. Great.
Exactly. I'm gun shy.
So here, and this is different because it's live, the guy opens for 6K, and he has 27K behind. I mean, people definitely fold with 27K behind stack, probably a lot. Are you guys shoving here? He's got a queen 9 in the big
First
blind.
of all, never make that shove on the big dog because I'll break my arm off getting it in calling.
Oh, yes, we know that. So he says the guy was moved to his right 2 hands prior, no idea on his game. So he doesn't really – I mean, the guy is on his left. He wrote that wrong, but he has no idea about the guy's game. But just against a random, not the big dog. We know the big dog.
I mean, it seems pretty bad to me.
Bad? What's bad?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has no information. He's just deciding that when the guy raises with, 14 big blinds, the guy 3Xs with 14 big blinds, he decides to shove his stack with very minimal fold equity with queen 9 and no information. Seems pretty bad.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference between this hand and my hand is that the guy that I shoved down with nothing had been raising every single time.
Yeah.
And this guy had literally just sat down, so I would be hesitant to jam on him because you just don't know anything about him. He might have not played a hand in 70 hands for all we know.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm not trying. Like, I hate picking on a member. I'm not saying, but it just seems like this doesn't seem like the ideal spot to be making this move with zero information, very little fold equity. It just doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
The guy's shown that he's been a bit aggressive or whatnot, and his raise size was consistently at 3x, then there's more information to maybe consider a jam, but I just think like
at that point I probably like the jam.
Right.
Yeah, if you're just deciding you're going to shove without any information, I just don't think. I mean, you have to see what the information's available to you before you act on it.
Yep. And I mean, the what you guys just brought up was exactly his question. Was this a bad idea against a new player with no information? And so that's the key point here is that.
Oh, that's what he's asking. Oh, then he kind of knows that it was a bad idea, I think.
Yeah. Well, results-wise, the guy had king queen, and so he posted if it didn't affect, he never would have posted it, right? If nothing bad happened, probably he never would have posted it. But he knows that once he lost, he's like trying to rationalize what he did wrong, and he was going right to that. No information, probably a bad thing to do.
Yeah, with no information and no FE, it just seems bad.
Yep.
Because I think a good percentage of the time you're going to get called, and you're going to be dominated at least, a lot of times, or at the most be, 70-30, or you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I mean, it seems pretty bad to me, because I don't think this guy's folding a lot. If he, like Wein says, if he's been 3Xing and trying to own the table and been quite aggressive, then I actually kind of like the shove.
Right.
Because if the guy's been getting away with a lot, he's not going to want to call off a lot of his stack when he knows he can continue to fold this one and then rape the table. So, with no information, I think it's pretty bad. With a lot of information, I think it's an absolutely fine shove.
Right. And, another thing is live, you're going to get more information than you would get playing online. You could just observe what they're doing, how they're, are they, you get a little bit more about, if this is some internet kid or something, would that change your thinking, or like the way they're dressed, or just the way they handle themselves at the table?
I don't know about the way he's dressed or anything like that, but I mean, no, I don't think any of that changes my decision. No. Unless I've actually picked up some information on how he's played a few pots, then I don't think any of that would really change my decision.
Makes sense. Okay.
Especially, if he has more FE, I can kind of dig it, but he just doesn't have enough to me.
Cool.
Right on.
All right. Cool. Well, good.
Excellent. Well, I guess time to wrap it up. So, Casey, John, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Going to see you guys at the World Series next, guys.
Yeah, Casey, I'll see you in 4 days.
Sounds
and John,
good.
I'll see you shortly after that.
Sounds good, boys. Have a good one.
Right.
Take it easy. Adios.
All right. Later, guys. Thank you.
See you. Hey guys, this is Killingbird from Tournament Poker Edge, here to let you know about a brand new podcast we are launching called Tournament Poker Edge Live. This podcast will be recorded live at poker events around the world, starting with this summer's World Series of Poker. Tournament Poker Edge Live will feature interviews, pro analysis, live hand discussions, strategy, trip reports, and a ton more direct from the events. This will not replace the Tournament Poker Edge podcast. These podcasts will be shorter, but will also be rolled out on a much more regular basis when we are at an event. So subscribe now, and feel free to let us know what you would like to see included on upcoming episodes of Tournament Poker Edge Live. Welcome back to the Tournament Poker Edge podcast. Special thanks to Big Dog and Wein for stopping in to give us a little bit of insight on the World Series before they head out there. I know they're both busy in preparations just like we are, so definitely appreciate their time today.
That house is going to be very interesting to live in.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
We'll,
oh my God, Twist is coming too, and Charlie and Sean. It's going to be very, very interesting. And do you know if Ryan's coming out? I mean, I know he can't play, but is he coming out? I guess he probably would have come out if it was online, right? Just to hang out with us and play, but maybe not.
Yeah, I bet if he could have played online, he would have for sure come. But he actually did ask me not that long ago if there would be space for him if he wanted to come out just to visit for like
he should.
few days or something. So
to see him.
Yeah, hopefully he'll come out. He tends to just kind of roam around and travel, so I wouldn't be shocked if he just sort of last second said, "I'm going to get on a plane and fly to Vegas."
Yep. It makes sense.
Hopefully he will.
Cool.
That was
very interesting.
Yeah, definitely an interesting conversation. I thought it was especially interesting just talking about structures, and I thought it was pretty cool that the analysis you did on comparing some of those tournaments, because I think a lot of times people just look and they go, "Oh, well, I get 15,000 chips in this one, but I only get 5,000 in this one to start," and they just automatically assume that one must be better than the other. But
right.
I think the process you went through is really what people should be looking at.
In this case, that would be the right analysis, because in this case, the Venetians not only have, not only do the blinds slow down at a decelerate or accelerate at a slower rate. Actually, that's not true. They actually, I'm looking at my spreadsheet. They actually move a little bit faster in the smaller tournaments, and the blinds move relatively similar in the bigger tournaments because the blind levels are shorter. It's just that in this case, you actually do start with more chips. It's funny. The reverse is a little bit true. Like I'll give you an example. I just pulled it up really quickly during the conversation, so we didn't get too deep into it, but I'll give you a better idea of what we're talking about here. So, the 340 and 550s at the Venetian are the same structure. They are 12,000 chips to start, and they are 40-minute levels. And that's the shallowest structure they have, right?
Right.
So they move a little faster. The 1Ks and the 1.5Ks actually are 60-minute levels. So that's something I neglected to mention.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So those move slower, and they move at the same pace pretty much as the WSOP. Not blind level for blind level, but hour for hour. But you start with so many more chips there that it's good. And then as you get deeper, the blind levels they have like slightly more levels than the actually it looks like about the same levels. But you have so many more chips that it makes a difference. So the 340s and 550s, you start with 12K. They're 40 minutes. So let's compare that to a 1K from the World Series. It's one of the comparisons we just made. They start at shallower level. The blinds are bigger to start, but by the time you get to hour number 4, where blinds are 3.6 with the 50 ante, you will be comparatively you'll have about an M of 9 if you have the starting stack. So
right.
If you have 12K at 3.6, you have 20 big blinds, right?
Yeah.
And you have an M of 8.8. Similarly, you have in the 3K, you have blinds of 1-2 with no ante, and with a 3K stack, if you had starting stack, you'd have an M of 10 and big blinds of 15. But the M is more important here because the antes do make a difference. So that's where, looking at it a little deeper, that's where it starts to level off, because then the World Series, you drop down much faster. It's actually pretty close, but so you're getting for $1,000, you're getting the same experience that you get for $300 at the Venetian.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
It's a little better with the $1,500 tournament. The $1,500 tournament at the World Series is better structured than the 300 or the 500 at the Venetian. Even though you start with 4,500 chips instead of 12, there's more levels, in the World Series, and it's hour long. So it is a little better. Than the Venetian, 300 or 500. But if you compare, 1,000 at the Venetian to 1,000 at the World Series, it's a huge difference. Let me give you an example. So after 3 hours at the Venetian, because now we're hour levels, right? After 3 hours at the Venetian, you start with 15,000 chips now, right? So it's more, and it's hour long blinds. So blind level. So after when you reach the 2 hour mark, you have an M of 50 at 100, 200, and at the World Series you have an M of 20. And that's just after 2 hours,
Yeah.
Even after an hour, you start with a M of 100, and World Series you start with an M of 60. So it's actually right from the beginning.
Right.
And then when you get to like hour, 5, where it's 200, 400 at the Venetian, just with a starting stack, you'd have an M of 18. Think about it. A starting stack is 1,500. You're nearly 40 big blinds. At the World Series, when you hit the 6th hour, your M is 5. So it's a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely.
And then when you go to the 1,500, it's even more so because you start with 20K. You start with 20K with the same levels pretty much as the World Series, where they're starting with 3K. And it's even crushing the 1,500. So for those of you who are in a smaller bankroll, if you got a way, we talked about it with the pros. If you want to win a bracelet, you're going to have, you may be done much quicker. You're not going to get as much play for your money in those smaller World Series tournaments.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're looking for the absolute best value or chance to play the most poker you can, then you might want to consider something like the Venetian Deepstacks.
Yep. Good stuff.
So, very cool. Right on. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Tournament Poker Edge.
Yep. So video-wise, I mentioned in the first segment that mentioned Halo X and PLO. We just put up last week his part 2 of his PLO, and there'll be a part 3 down the road. We have a Bodog series that just went off for Cougars. Did a Bodog series. Hagbard will be doing a series on Lock and Cake, or actually Broadway Tables, which is on the Cake Network. And we have started a series with a brand new pro, Bourbon for the Win, a very successful online player. He's won the Sunday warm-up, he's got second place in the Brawl, final table in the F-Tops 300R, and finished second in a WSOP circuit main event. He's making videos now for TPE, and his first video is off to rave reviews. And he plays a hyper-aggressive style. He's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, it seemed – I've only watched his first video so far, but it definitely seemed good. But I know Wein had mentioned that he's like super aggro, which I think we'll probably see more later in the video than we see that in later parts of the series than we did in the first part. So
yeah, it's a 5-part, so it's got some time to go before he gets into that zone. In the first part, it's a 300 rebuy, so it is a rebuy period too. So
right. I've actually consciously stopped watching videos now because I want them for the flight to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting backed up on purpose. So.
Right. Right. And then we also have I think this is really getting good reviews too. You and Wein did a reverse Stick It to the Man, where he did a hand history review with you of his 750K final table that he just recently had.
Yeah.
And you were, the guy asking the questions and talking about things, and people loving that one too. So that's a really interesting series. So it's a good time for content right now. That we have a lot of good stuff going on. I'm pretty excited about it. We're happy with the content production right now.
For sure. And then I also wanted to just give everybody a reminder about the Tournament Poker Edge workshop that we have going on in Vegas on June 10th. Already got a bunch of people signed up for that, but if you're coming into Vegas around June 10th and you want to hit that up, just visit the forums or drop us an email or get in touch with us via PM or any other way. Yeah. Still got room for, like I mentioned in the forum, we don't want it to get too packed. Like, we want it to be pretty hands-on, so we're probably going to limit it to probably 10 or less, but we probably got room for about 2 more people, maybe 3 more people. So definitely hit us up if you want to attend that. And then the other big news that we're really excited about, which people actually heard a commercial for before this segment, is the new podcast we're rolling out called Tournament Poker Edge Live, which I think is going to be very, very cool.
Absolutely.
And I stressing to everybody that this doesn't mean that this podcast is going away. This will continue on, but the Tournament Poker Edge Live is really going to be more of, I want to say, a little less formal of a podcast. We're all going to be in Vegas hanging out. We figured it was a great opportunity to give people some more listening for their dollar. So we're going to make some podcasts out there that are a little more fun and laid back, and we'll have some interviews, and we'll have some gossip and some news, and basically we'll sit down, we'll throw the mics on, and we'll just, whatever we feel like doing that day, we'll do. So I think people will dig it. Yeah,
it should be fun. I think more stuff is good. Since people are going to be around each other, we'll just be able to, we'll have more stuff to talk about. We'll have more content, and we'll be updating on what everyone's doing, and hopefully we have some huge final tables to talk about. That's really what I'm looking for.
Yeah. And I think people like to hear what pros are up to when they're out in Vegas for 2 months playing the World Series. I think it's interesting, and I think it'll be really cool to just sort of get in a sort of inside peek at what the World Series is all about for 2 months.
Yep, absolutely. So, should be cool.
Yep. Anything else before we wrap this up?
Nope. I am ready to roll. I want to get into some tournaments. I want to make a final table. I'm ready.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Cool. All right. Well, thanks to our pros again for stopping in, and by the time we do our next podcast, we'll be out in Vegas. So until then, thanks again. This has been the Tournament Poker Edge podcast.
See ya.
Like they do in Texas, please. Fold them, let them hit me, raise it, baby, stay with me. Log in intuition, play the cards with babes to start. And after she's been hooked, I'll play the one that's on her heart. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Can't read mine, no she can't read a mile. Poker face, she's got to love nobody. Can't read mine, no she can't read a mile. Poker face, she's got to love nobody. Poker face, poker face. Poker face, poker face. I wanna roll with her, a hard pair we will be. While little gambling is fun when you're with me. I love it. Russian roulette is not the same without a gun. And baby, when it's love, it's not rough, it isn't fun. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'll get her heart, show her what I got. Can't read mine, no she can't read a mile. Poker face, she's got to love nobody. Can't read mine, no she can't read a mile. Poker face, she's got to love nobody. Poker face, poker face. Poker face, poker face. Can't read mine, no she can't read a mile. Poker face, she's got to love nobody. Can't read mine,